So I didn't really want to do a video on this, but apparently it's gaining a lot of traction, so we need to talk about the Alberta separatist movement. Now, I'll tell you right now, there are going to be better people out there to explain this than I will. So if you go look at my reposts, I've probably reposted at least 5 other videos that explain it better than I will. But I'm going to talk about it and do my best, even though I'm really sick with a cold. So right now, Danielle Smith has basically threatened Mark Carney that if she doesn't get her way, that she is going to back having a referendum in Alberta for people who want to separate. She is even trying to make changes right now so that it's easier for them to have a referendum, that the will of the citizens of Alberta could be easily heard. And actually, I got to do a video about that later on, but for now, we'll just stick to the separatist movement thing. So here's the thing, and I'm going to say right now, there are 2 sides to this, right? And both are true, both sides. The first one being, Alberta literally cannot leave. They cannot separate, okay? The reason that Quebec can leave is because they're not officially a part of Canada. They have just basically agreed to be a part of Canada, but they never signed up to be part of Canada. There was never like anything that said, yes, we're officially signing Canada. That's why they have the ability to leave. Now, there are still other complications because there's, they have land treaties and all this other stuff, like but I think they tend to stay because they like the money that they get from Ottawa. That being said, Alberta, on the other hand, is a part of Canada and didn't actually exist before Canada made it a province. Prior to that, it was all Indigenous land. And guess what? It still fucking is. Because Treaty 5, 6, is it 5, 6, 7, or is it 6, 7, 8? I can't remember what. Anyways, there are 3 treaties that make up the province of Alberta. There are 3 land treaties, okay? And the Indigenous people own those lands. Everybody else in Alberta is just a fucking renter hanging out there. They don't own shit. So, that being said, the Indigenous people already have sent out, the specific tribes that are in the Alberta area, have already sent out letters to Danielle Smith telling her to stop riling people up and threatening, separatism because you're not happy with what the federal government's doing when we need unity in Canada. And they flat out said, you can't leave. These lands are ours. Now, with that being said, who says that Alberta is going to fucking listen? Who says that they're going to follow the laws? If the entire government decides to go the way of Donald Trump and just throw out all of democracy and do whatever the fuck they want, there's going to be a problem. But we hope it doesn't get to that point. We would hope that Danielle Smith would not get to that point. Now, the other problem with all of this is everybody keeps going on about, well, Alberta has all the money. Alberta's the one it's not fair. The federal government, we put more money in and we don't get enough back. It's not really true. Actually, Ontario puts more money in than Alberta does, just based on the population size. Hell, Toronto alone, the Toronto area, puts more money in to the federal government than the Albertas. So, and if you guys don't think that the government is giving you guys money back, they certainly are. You guys get a lot of subsidies, especially for your oil, which, by the way, is government owned. Alberta doesn't own any of the oil, the Alberta oil sands. You don't own it. Those pipelines that go through Alberta, you don't own it. It's all owned by the government. Now, again, this is all understanding that they're going to follow the law and not but if you wanted to leave and you had a referendum, you're leaving with nothing. You don't own the land. You don't own your own resources. You don't own the pipelines that get used to send them out, all those resources out to people. So what are you leaving with? At the moment, nothing. You'd be lucky you get your clothes on your back. And finally, when you leave, you understand that means you don't get anything from the Canadian government anymore. You don't get your healthcare funding. you can take your CPP, but that's going to be like quite tricky because then you got to like do all the numbers and figure out exactly how much. But you're not getting your healthcare funding anymore. You don't get to use our military, so you would have to come up with your own military and fund that with, again, what money, because your resources are ours. There's like a whole bunch of shit that you guys leave behind that you don't get anymore. Now, you could join the United States. That's a possibility. But if you don't have the oil and you don't have the resources and you don't have the land, I have a distinct feeling that you're all just going to end up having to move across the border and go live in the US because you got nothing to give the United States to make them want you. I mean, short of them getting into a war to take you and help you take all of the land and everything else from the federal government, which, do you really guys want to go that route? Do you really want to have the United States come in and kill a bunch of Canadian citizens because you guys are unhappy with the government? It seems kind of ridiculous. Like, it just doesn't seem like that's the route that you really should go. So at this point, I think Danielle Smith knows all of this, and she's just doing it because she wants to create trouble. Okay, she wants a certain amount of things out of the federal government. So if she creates trouble, Carney's more likely to pay attention to her and give her what he wants. Now, she's had a nice conversation with him. It seems like for the moment she's been kind of calmed down. But she's using this. She knows you guys can't leave. This Alberta separatism thing has popped up in the past, and then it's gone away. And the same thing will happen this time. It'll pop up, it'll be a thing for a little while, and then it will go away. Because you don't understand how many things that how many hoops and everything else that you have to jump through in order to make it happen. Not to mention the fact you need 50% of the vote in order for you to leave. And that's 50% of Alberta, by the way. It's each province that has to vote. It's not 50% of you, Saskatchewan, and BC or whatever. Like, it's 50% in each province. And right now, I think you guys have, like, I think it's only around 25% of people that said they would vote for it. Like, I'm sorry that this is the reality, and I know you're not going to like it. But it's not as easy as for you guys getting to vote, and then you get to take all your toys and leave. It's not going to happen. So I would think it would be better for you guys to maybe sit down, figure out why you're unhappy, look at the things that are making you unhappy, and start figuring out who you need to talk to get those things to change. Because one, you might find some of the things that you're very unhappy about are at a provincial level. And your problem is actually with Danielle Smith. The rest of the stuff, if it's federal, give Mark Carney a chance. The guy literally has only been in charge for like 3 days. And it seems like he's already willing to talk to Danielle Smith and give her some of the stuff that she wants. So just give the guy a chance, okay? Or maybe just, bring the temperature down. Because the way you guys want to go, I think you don't realize how bad it would have to get in order for you guys to go that way. And I don't think any of you want to take up arms and start fighting your fellow Canadians. Okay? We're not, the North and South. This is not the Civil War. We don't want to go that route.